6 months later, Pan continues her training under Piccolo, displaying considerable talent. The two finish up, and Piccolo notes that Pan may have more talent for training than Gohan. However, Pan struggles with firing ki blasts and flying, prompting Piccolo to reassure her about the gradual learning process. He tells her to try again, and the child focuses her energy to attempt to fly, but she's unable to will herself to do so, much to her disappointment. She then questions Piccolo on if her father could be stronger than Goku if he wanted to be, to which Piccolo says maybe not now, as he's been out of the game. Noting she's never seen her father fight, Piccolo states he will if he's forced to, and after exchanging goodbyes for now, Pan takes off running at super speed, launching herself through the forested area to get home. The following morning, Piccolo's training is interrupted when Videl calls, requesting him to pick up Pan from school. Piccolo wonders why Gohan can't do it, and Videl explains he's been busy with a research report he'll need to present. Piccolo reluctantly agrees, prompting Videl to offer him another plushie, which he apparently has plenty of in the corner of his room. Irritated, Piccolo flies to Gohan's house as he's working on his report. Scratching on the window, Piccolo reveals himself to Gohan, who happily greets him. However, his friend angrily questions what he's doing that's so important, prompting Gohan to demonstrate his report on ants that glow and transform when in danger, likening them to a Super Saiyan. Piccolo then yells at Gohan, demanding to know why he isn't picking up his own daughter from school. He then says that Gohan should be training more to prepare for the next threat to Earth. But when Gohan dismisses the idea, Piccolo attacks him, prompting Gohan to block and note that he hasn't gotten as rusty as Piccolo thinks. However, Piccolo follows up with a punch to Gohan's gut, telling him that he's been slacking as he outfits him with clothes resembling his, which Gohan notes are heavy. Gohan then thanks Piccolo again for getting Pan and offers him another plushie, and the Namekian yells in frustration, noting he doesn't need any more. Later that same day, Piccolo continues his training, only to be met with a burst of energy hurtling from the sky that delivers an enormous explosion upon impact. When the smoke dissipates, Piccolo is unscathed, and before him stands a strange-looking man with a yellow suit and blue cape, with the number 2 stamped across his chest. The stranger skillfully holsters his weapon that's assumed to have caused the explosion, and addresses the Namekian as King Piccolo. Piccolo, however, states that's not who he is anymore, confusing the stranger, who's told it's a long story and is questioned for his name. However, the stranger characteristically notes that his true identity is a secret, and Piccolo notices the appearance of the red ribbon logo on his shoulder. Piccolo points this out, recalling the symbol back when he was God, piquing the curiosity of the stranger, who wants to know more. Piccolo, however, dismisses this, telling him to do his homework next time, and points out the stranger's lack of ki, deducing he must be an android. Surprised that the Namekian managed to figure this out, the stranger confirms his intent to battle Piccolo, noting that today was supposed to be a trial run for him, but now he's gonna kill him. Piccolo reluctantly tells the adversary to hurry up, and the stranger rushes in with a punch, but narrowly misses Piccolo, who counters with his own punch to the gut. Piccolo then kicks the stranger away, but rather than colliding with a mountain nearby, he bounces off of it and lands a devastating punch to Piccolo's stomach. The stranger then backflips, slams his foot on the Namekian's head, and sends him plummeting down toward a mountain of rocks. Piccolo rises, noting his enemy isn't sustaining damage, confirming his suspicion that he must be an android after all. His thoughts are interrupted though, as the stranger lands behind him, stating this fight is a disappointment so far. Piccolo then discards his cape and turban as he charges toward the stranger, who dodges all of his attacks. Piccolo manages to land a powerful kick that sends the stranger flying, but he catches himself and lands gracefully, launching a blast from his ray gun that detonates on Piccolo's arm. The Namekian's arm falls off as the stranger continues his assault, but through the smoke of the attack, Piccolo extends his other arm and slams the stranger to a nearby rock, the rest of his body reappearing from the dust with his severed arm grown back as he lands a punch to the stranger's face. Pinning his enemy down, Piccolo appears to have gained the upper hand, but the stranger, undeterred, notes that Piccolo's arm can grow back and kicks him away, following up with a barrage of swift attacks and a knee to the chin. The stranger finishes the combo with an elbow to Piccolo's gut, stating that he's got a read on the Namekian's moves now. Piccolo attempts to strike, but the stranger evades, and Piccolo launches a barrage of ki blasts at him, but his adversary easily dodges them all. He then takes to the sky, equipping his ray gun again, and launches a devastating blast that Piccolo seems prepared for, creating a massive explosion that engulfs the surrounding area. The aftermath displays a large cloud of dust, and using his scanners, the stranger deduces that Piccolo's been killed and takes off. However, the Namekian, watching from above, notes that he can't allow this enemy to roam free. Piccolo then tails the stranger, unbeknownst to him, and they arrive at a giant lake surrounded by a mountainous region. The stranger lands in a base of sorts and greets his colleagues, who all don red ribbon attire. Following close behind, Piccolo sneaks up on one of the soldiers and robs him of his uniform, continuing his pursuit of the stranger. To his surprise, the lake was actually no lake at all, but a hologram disguising the Red Ribbon Army's base of operations. Piccolo sees the stranger flying nearby and land in a building as he follows close behind, noting that one of the soldiers referred to the stranger as Gamma. Suddenly, Piccolo is spotted by a group of Red Ribbon soldiers who refer to him as number 94, assuming he's part of the fold. One of the soldiers alert him that this isn't his post, but another, assuming 94 to be an eager member hoping to learn a thing or two, gives him permission to stand on the front lines of the inner chamber. Piccolo heads in and stands guard, noticing a group of individuals in the middle of the room, as well as the stranger he'd faced earlier. Dr. Hedo then commends the stranger now known as Gamma 2 on his efforts against Piccolo. Gamma 2 thanks Hedo for his kind words, but another stranger, identical to Gamma 2, now known as Gamma 1, tells his counterpart that he went overboard for what was supposed to be a trial run. The discovery of another android surprises Piccolo, but he holds his astonishment as to maintain his cover. Hedo, in response to Gamma 1, tells Gamma 2 that he showed good judgment. Gamma 1 then questions if Gamma 2 confirmed a corpse, but the latter claims there was no need, as Piccolo was definitely blasted to smithereens. Gamma 1, however, tells his counterpart that he lacks vigilance, as he displays a replay of the battle and shows an unknown figure emerging from the explosion. Gamma 2 dismisses this, stating that it could be anyone, but Gamma 1 says that if it were Piccolo, he could expose their entire operation before they have a chance to destroy the rest of their enemies. Gamma 2, however, dismisses this, noting that even if Piccolo warns the rest of his friends, they'll be able to defeat them easily. Piccolo, confused, wonders about the group of evildoers the Gammas are discussing, and simultaneously, Carmine displays the villains in question. Goku and Vegeta appear first, Carmine stating they aren't to be trifled with. He then switches to Majin Buu and Hercule alike, noting that Hercule's true power currently eludes them. Unimpressed, Dr. Hedo states that the Gammas are already powerful enough to overcome any threat, questioning Gamma 2 on his battle against Piccolo, to which the android notes that it was too easy. Hedo goes on to say that once the Gammas eliminate the organization within Capsule Corp, including Bulma herself, it's only a matter of time before the Red Ribbon Army can dominate the world. Magenta changes topics and questions Hedo on when his creation Cell Max will be ready, but Hedo points out it's a needless concern, as the Gammas make Cell Max non-essential for their plan. Magenta persists in his questioning though, and Hedo pulls up the feed of his creation, resembling Cell's second form from the days of the android threat, surprising Piccolo. Hedo states he needs more time as his brain functions can't be rushed, but Magenta, frustrated, states he's waited long enough. In response, Hedo says that although he didn't like the idea of utilizing Dr. Gero's research to build such a powerful creation, he isn't dragging his feet, and the process will take some time. He says that rather than complaining, Magenta should be grateful that they have the Gammas to help in the meantime, but an impatient Magenta exclaims that he wants Cell Max up and running right away. Hedo, however, remains stern in his decision making, telling the leader that if Cell Max were to be released now, he would destroy the very world they hope to rule. He proposes letting the Gammas continue to dispose of those who threaten them and activate Cell Max when he's fully operational. Having heard enough, Piccolo makes his way out of the room, poised to warn the others. Outside, Piccolo calls Bulma, questioning Goku and Vegeta's location. Bulma informs Piccolo that they're on Beerus' planet, and Piccolo tells her to call Whis using her device and tell them to return to Earth immediately. When Bulma questions the urgency, Piccolo doesn't get into details, but tells her that they're dealing with a new crisis. She agrees to contact the two, and having no time to lose, Piccolo takes off to grab some sensu beans. At Capsule Corp, Bulma frantically searches for her device to contact Whis, and Piccolo arrives at Korin Tower, explaining the situation to Korin and Yajirobe. Korin, however, only has 2 sensu remaining and addresses Piccolo as Kami, but Piccolo informs him that he doesn't go by that name anymore. Soon after, Bulma contacts Piccolo, informing him that she can't find the device. Piccolo tells her that the situation could get rough without the help of Goku and Vegeta, and Bulma opts to continue her search. Piccolo then ponders on the situation, stating that based on his own battle, the Gammas are on par with Goku and Vegeta themselves, his last display of their power being the battle with Moro. Korn suggests Gohan step into fight, but Piccolo says the half Saiyan is of little use to them right now. He also states that numbers 17 and 18 are probably useless as well, given the enemy likely knows their weak points from Dr. Heto's data. Majin Buu is also mentioned, having been asleep for a while now. With seemingly all his options depleted, Piccolo states he's the only line of defense against the Red Ribbon Army, but suddenly has a realization, claiming that Dende may be able to help him out. Meanwhile, Bulma continues her search for the device, finally stumbling upon it in the mouth of her pet Dino. On Beerus' planet, Whis' staff receives the communication from Bulma, but the angel seems preoccupied with an ongoing battle. An explosion suddenly occurs, sending Whis' staff flying into the distance, continuing its reign. The battle seems to involve Goku, who's leaping away from an incoming blast unleashed from someone. Goku blocks the blast in base form, and appearing from the resulting smoke is Broly. Broly attempts to land a few punches and kicks on Goku, but Goku evades them all. The Saiyan remains on the defense as Broly continues his assault, and Broly suddenly headbutts Goku, who manages to catch himself and come flying back toward the Saiyan. Goku attempts to kick Broly, but Broly manages to block the attack as the two stare each other down. Goku then breaks away, complimenting his adversary on his quick learning, but Broly says he's still trying to get the hang of things. Goku, however, reassures the warrior, telling him that it's a gradual learning process, and soon he'll be fighting with a level head without snapping into rage. Goku then proposes they take their training up a notch, and Broly declares he's ready, addressing his adversary in his Earth name, Son Goku. After a brief overview of Broly's character and how our protagonist learned of him, Goku and Broly continue training on Beerus' planet. When Broly becomes overly enthusiastic, Goku advises him to ease off to prevent any chaos. Meanwhile, Vegeta is shown meditating, surprising Goku, who notes his rival isn't usually the type to calm his mind. Vegeta, however, explains to Goku that this serves as a form of training. He emphasizes that their physical capabilities have reached their peak, comparable to formidable opponents like Jiren, Broly, Moro, Gas, and Frieza. Rather than focusing solely on physical prowess though, Vegeta underscores the importance of mental training. He states that in order to command 100% of their power, they'll need to force their bodies and spirits to relax outside of moments when they attack. Whis commends Vegeta for grasping this concept and scolds Goku for his lack of understanding, the latter noting it's easier said than done for Whis, as he's an angel. Whis then suggests a match between the three Saiyans, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. However, Vegeta declines if Broly is involved, he and Goku fearing the consequences of the Saiyan losing control. In agreement, Whis tells Broly to sit this one out and observe Goku and Vegeta, and suddenly, Lord Beerus wakes up, greeting Whis. Informed that he's been sleeping for the past 4 months, Beerus turns in surprise to see Broly on his planet, Goku explaining that it was a precautionary measure to keep him safe from Frieza. Going on to yell about inviting unwanted guests, Beerus smells food coming from nearby, introduced to Lemo, the former member of Frieza's army. Tasting Lemo's food, Beerus is quite pleased and tells him he can stick around. Chi-Lai then walks up in fear of Beerus, who she notes is the most feared entity in the whole universe. Beerus, however, stares at her intently, immediately falling for her good looks and tells her she can stay as long as she wants. Distractions aside, Whis wants to get the sparring match between Goku and Vegeta started, exclaiming that transformations and long-ranged attacks aren't allowed. However, Goku questions if they can eat first, prompting a moment of relief. Elsewhere at the lookout, Piccolo approaches Dende to inquire about unlocking his latent potential, similar to how the Grand Elder on Namek empowered Gohan and Krillin long ago. Regretfully, Dende states that he's too young to perform such a task, but mentions using the Dragon Balls. He suggests that Piccolo use them to get rid of the Red Ribbon Army swiftly, but unwilling to bruise his pride, Piccolo declines. Dende then says he could ask Shenron to draw out his latent potential, surprising Piccolo, who was unaware the dragon could do such a thing. Piccolo wonders if he can gather the Dragon Balls in time, but Dende suspects Bulma has already collected them, noting that she's been making frivolous wishes over the years so no one could use the Dragon Balls for evil. Piccolo then calls Bulma, who confirms the 7 Dragon Balls are with her, questioning if he can use them as she's probably not wishing for anything important. Offended but in agreement, the two plan to meet at Capsule Corps as Piccolo takes off. Back on Beerus' planet, everyone enjoys a feast prepared by Lemo, who Beerus appoints as his new head chef. Everyone finishes as Goku and Vegeta prepare to face off in in base form, Whis signaling the start of the battle. Goku charges in and attempts to punch Vegeta, but the Saiyan blocks his attack. The two trade blows before Goku gains some distance, leaping back in to deliver a kick that misses Vegeta and damages part of the planet. Vegeta rushes in to gain the upper hand, but Goku stops him in time, rushing in to deliver a kick that Vegeta grabs. In response, Vegeta spins and throws Goku into the distance, the Saiyan using his surroundings to bounce back as the two continue exchanging blows. On the sidelines, Beerus notes that Vegeta's moves have changed ever so slightly, Whis assuming that his training must be paying off. The angel suggests eating some dessert in the meantime, and Chilai offers to fetch ice cream, supported by Beerus, who offers to lend her a hand. Goku and Vegeta's battle continues, the two locking arms and creating a cyclone, with Broly watching in amazement on the sidelines. Vegeta takes the opportunity to grab Goku and fling him down to the water, the resulting splash nearly hitting everyone, though Beerus protects them with a barrier, excluding Broly. The latter, however, remains unaffected, Whis teasing that Beerus must have created the barrier to protect Chilai in particular. Meanwhile at Capsule Corp, Piccolo's arrived and calls on Shenron, who emerges and greets his master. Piccolo questions if Shenron can draw out his latent potential, and thanks to the upgrade on the Dragon Balls, he confirms he can. The dragon then grants Piccolo's wish, fueling him as the Namekian notes he never knew he held such power. Shenron notes he threw in a little extra and questions what Piccolo's second wish is, but the Namekian tells Bulma she can have the other two, prompting her to wish for a minor booty lift and an extra 2mm on her eyelashes. Shenron departs until the next time they need him, and soon after, Bulma yells out in concern. Piccolo questions what's wrong, and when Bulma tells him they could have used one of the wishes to bring Goku and Vegeta back to Earth, Piccolo scolds her for wishing for a butt lift. Having no option but to figure out the situation, Piccolo opts to do some recon and takes off, Trunks listening in on the conversation.
L is for lovers who love one another. A is for ass, of which I like to eat. U is for you're the only one for me. G is for